Hey gamers, Kinsy Cat here, and today I, well, um, well, I don't have a game to play. So instead, I am going to tell a story today. Hey wait, don't go yet. It'll be a good one. Well, at least I think it's good, and everyone I've talked to and has told the story to has thought it was good. So, anyway, here we go. So, this story happened a few years ago. And by a few years ago, I mean a lot of years ago. Man, this story is really going to make me feel my age. Anyway, so my husband and I were car shopping. It was time for a new car, we needed one, and we hadn't decided on buying anything yet, we were still looking. So on this particular day, my husband was like, hey, since we gotta go to Sam's Club, let's look at some cars while we're out. And I was like, okay, why not? Now, the thing is, my husband, he can be very slow when it comes to shopping. He's very particular about what he wants and very methodical and all that good stuff. So by this time, we went through the day, and here it was an hour before Sam's Club closed, and he was like, you know what, let's just stop at this one last place and see what they have. So I was like, okay, why not? Sam's Club is literally a hop, skip, and jump from where we are. So we pull in. Right away, we are swarmed by car salespeople. One lucky guy ended up walking us around. Now, this guy kept asking about financing and buying today and whatnot. And my husband kept telling him, we're not buying today, we're just looking. So finally, we stopped at one car and we were looking at it. My husband asked his questions, and then it was my turn to ask my questions. So my questions were stuff like, does it have power seats, power windows, power locks, heated seats, cruise control, the controls for the radio on the wheel, and, a lot of electronic questions. Now, yes, I know a lot of these things are standard these days. Remember, this was a few years ago when these things were not standard. So anyway, so I'm asking my questions, and then I looked at him and I asked, does this car have a CD player? And the guy gave me this huge smile, stared at me, and replied, no, but it does have a tape deck. I'm like, what? Really? You're smiling because it has a tape deck? Now, for those of you little younglings out there who don't know what a tape deck is or a tape cassette, just look it up on Google. It's the old-time way of listening to music, which was a pain in cars. You thought switching through CD songs or songs on your phone while driving was bad? Yeah, try doing that with the tape. Anyway, so I just stared at the guy, and I was like, thinking to myself, okay. He then turned his attention back to my husband and started asking him about buying again. Then he started asking about occupations. He asked my husband what he did for his job, and then he looked at me and asked me what my job was, to which I proudly replied, I am a stay-at-home mom right now. So after I said that, his face lightened, and he gave me this really big smile again. And then he told me, oh, I've got this really cool feature to show you. You are just going to love it. I was like, okay. And I followed him around to the back of the car, where he proceeded to open the trunk. Now, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I've been asking about electronics and stuff, so even though this car has a tape deck inside, maybe they have one of those CD changer things in the trunk. It was a thing at the time. It loaded up like 20 CDs and would play them in the car while driving, blah, blah, blah. So he messes around in the trunk a bit more, stands back, points in, and says, "Grocery bag hooks." I just stared at him with this blank expression on my face. He was like, "See these little hooks here? You can hang your grocery bags on them, so that way they don't spill over and get all over your trunk." If looks could kill, he'd be dead. He'd have fallen down with his skin on fire, melting, writhing in pain and agony. And let me tell you, in my head, I am sitting there thinking, "You jerk. How dare you stereotype me? Just because I'm a stay-at-home mom, I'm going to be like all, ooh, yay, grocery bag hooks? What the heck? Are you serious right now? I've been asking about all the electronics in the car, and you're showing me this? Grocery bag hooks? Are you really that shallow?" I didn't actually say anything, though. I just kept giving him this death gaze. And it didn't faze him one bit, mind you. My husband, on the other hand, he is just standing there laughing. He noticed the death gaze and thought it was hilarious. So needless to say, I kept my mouth shut, I crossed my arms over my chest, trying my best not to say something stupid. Now, you might be thinking that this is the end of the story, but oh no. No. It gets better. The guy continues to go on about, well, what can we do to get you to buy today? And my husband's like, nothing. We're just looking. Finally, the guy was like, come on, let's check your credit report and see what we can do finance-wise. This way, if you change your mind, it's all ready for you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at the time, and Sam's Club is going to close in like 30 to 40 minutes. I glance at my husband. He rolls his eyes and lets the guy do his thing. So we go inside and sit down. The guy gets our information and disappears to go run our credit. In the meantime, while we're waiting, we notice something that I had not really seen before in any other car place. So when any time someone bought a car, they walked up to this huge gong that's sitting in the middle of the showroom. They hit it so that it rings out all over the sales floor. All of the salespeople, regardless if they're with customers or not, stand up, do this little golf clap thing like, "Oh, thank you, you're wonderful buyers, you bought a car from us, yay!" And then they sit back down and resume whatever they were doing. It was annoying, and to me, very rude. If you're helping me, don't stop just to clap because someone else bought something. Seriously, that's not going to make me want to buy anything. I looked at my husband and rolled my eyes. He shrugged. So anyway, the guy comes back and he looks at us and is like, "Great news! You have great credit." Duh, we knew that already. So he continued, "So here's what we can do for you, blah, blah, blah." And my husband's like, "No thanks, we're not buying today." "Well, let me see if I can get anything, if I can get any lower for you." And disappears again before we can say anything. So let me tell you guys something. Something you should know about me is that I am a very patient person. When it comes to dealing with people, I'm really good at it. I don't let things bother me. Usually things just slide off my shoulder. I don't get agitated easily. I don't lose my temper. But this guy was pushing it. I mean, by this time I'm really agitated, and you can tell. You can look at me and tell that I am not a happy camper. So the guy comes back over and he's like, "Here, check this out." My husband's like, "No, we're not buying today." So the guy calls over a few other salespeople, and they're all sitting there talking, trying to figure out what they can do to get us to buy today, all while stopping to do their little golf clap anytime that gong is hit. And at this point, I'm checking my watch again, and it's like 15-20 minutes until Sam's Club closes. And finally, the sales manager comes over, to help seal the deal and get us to buy something today. And they're sitting there talking, and he looks over at me and gives me a real big smile. And then he leans over to the sales guy and is like, Did you tell her about the grocery bag hooks? That was it. I snapped. I slammed my hands down on the table. I stood up and yelled, "That's it. I'm done. We are leaving." So I then proceeded to get up and walk away. And let me tell you, when I said the place was quiet, it was quiet. Every eye was on me, and I didn't care. My husband began to laugh. He kind of stood up. He looked at the guy and was like, "I guess we're done. Thanks for your time." And as I'm heading towards the door, I'm muttering to myself, and I know it's loud enough for anyone near me to hear, but I was just like, just because I'm a woman, just because I'm a stay-at-home mom, that does not mean I'm going to see grocery bag hooks and be like, "Ooh, I have to have this car. I have to buy it today. I am sold." It's something I really hate. It's a pet peeve of mine. I cannot stand it when people stereotype others. So, ended up storming out of there, and we ended up getting to Sam's Club before they closed, and we got our groceries and made it home. Moral of this story: don't stereotype people, especially if you're trying to make a sale. It'll piss them off, and they're not going to end up buying anything. Now, because of this, because of my reaction, it has become a running joke between my husband and I. So this year, we had to go car shopping again, and my husband played it up. Whenever we were looking at a car, he'd be like, "Does it have grocery bag hooks?" And so before any of the salespeople could even say anything, I'd give him a little smack. Now, most of the salespeople took the cue and dropped it. Actually, all but one of them did. The women would look at him, then me, and smile uneasily and be like, "Ooh, okay, not touching that one." The men would just look at us like we were crazy. Except for this one sales guy. He marched right back to the trunk, opened it up, and went, "Ta-da!" Yeah, no kidding. I just glared at him. My husband laughed at it. So yeah, that's my little story about grocery bag hooks. It's going to be something my husband and I joke about for years to come. Oh, and just so you know, no, my son wasn't with us that day. He was hanging out at a friend's house that day for a play date, and he loves this story too. I've told him about it. And I guess the reason my friends and family love it so much is because I'm so laid back and things just don't get to me. But when something does end up getting under my skin, it tends to be funny, and my reactions tend to be kind of over the top a little bit. And my husband, he's always like, every time he thinks about the story, he's like, I really wish phone cameras were like what we have now, back then. He's like, because I so would have taken a video of that. And trust me, he would have, and it would have been funny. Anyway, so that's my story. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, tap that like button over there. And if you didn't, tap the dislike button over there. Although, it doesn't really matter if you dislike it or not. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed telling the story. I enjoyed making this. So, there's probably going to be more stories with Kinsy to come. If you did like it, maybe leave a comment. Let me know, ask any other question. What other stories do you have? Or do you have a story about this? I probably do. So just ask. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. See you next time. Bye-bye.